Alrighty, folks. In today's psychological lecture, it's a topic that I've talked about probably like 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, but I always find a way to reiterate my words in a way that makes more sense. And today's topic, we're talking about detaching from the outcome, right? So, what does that mean? Like I mentioned in previous videos, it's not caring about what the circumstances that happen inside of day trading. And as I continuously progress with my trading, as I make more money even trading, as I up my position sizes, as I scale, I then realize the more important it is, especially as you're growing, right? Because you get to a point right now, like right now I'm in a point where I'll be in a 30, 50, 70, $80,000 position, right, at one given moment. And I mean, to the normal person, that is a lot of money, right? And obviously, even to me, that's a good amount of money. It's not life-changing money, but it's a good amount of money. And if you are so hyper focused on this amount of money constantly, your performance gets affected by it, right? And especially, I mean, just being in the position to execute that much with that much size, it can mentally affect you, right? It can get to you, it can stress you out, it can make you feel different emotions. Even when you're out of the position, you can feel stress, anxiety, you can feel depression if you lose a certain amount of money. And the only thing that will guarantee that you don't care, right, about the outcome is detaching from it. And I think my best piece of advice for detaching from the outcome as a whole is to trick your brain into being able to detach, right? Because you can't actually detach from the money, no matter how much it is. If it's relatively not life changing, but it's relatively a lot of money to you, which in trading it always will be a lot of money to you, you're going to get mentally affected by it. And the only way to detach is kind of like faking it until you make it, right? Not like tricking your brain almost into saying, I genuinely don't care about this. Even though it's almost damn near impossible to not care about the money, you need to literally trick your mind. And habits in which you can trick your mind into detaching from the outcome as a whole is to constantly just repeat to yourself, like, I don't care what happens. If I lose this amount of money, if I make this amount, I don't care. I don't care. And literally constantly reaffirming that to yourself. And it's so important that you all adopt this now instead of later, because as you scale, the money in terms of how much you're risking, how much you're investing, how many positions you're taking, it only gets more, right? As you scale, right? So, I mean, for you guys who consistently watch me and you're genuinely trying your best, I have no doubt in my mind some of you guys will be in the position and circumstance to be able to take 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, $100,000 positions, like where I am right now. And the only way I can tell you guys to detach from the outcome is just to literally start tricking your mind, right? Let's say, for example, you lose $2,000 or you lose $1,000 or you lose $500, right? You need to literally start tricking your mind to say, I don't care. I don't care. Right? Literally tricking yourself, lying to yourself. You need to be that delusional. And it only affects your performance the more hyper associated and focused you are on the money, right? Which is also equivalent of being focused on the outcome. Like, for example, I can lose 3, 5, 10 grand in a day, and if I make that amount of money based off my entire mood of saying, oh, I lost 5 grand today, so now I'm going to be sad for the rest of the day, how do you think that's going to affect my performance for the following day? It's obviously going to be negative. It's going to be terrible, right? So I'll tell you guys, like, in order to really get to the next level, right? In order to be fully psychologically aware of your problems, in order to stop problems before they even arise, in order to be able to scale, in order to be focused on a clear mind, you can't. You just can't be focused on the outcome. You can't care if you make or lose money. You can't care if you blow that funded account. Like, I'll see so many people, like, they'll text me like, Salmon, like, I blew this account today, and I can't, like, I don't know if I'm gonna keep going, and like, I'm just stressed. And I'm like, bro, you blew a simulated $50 funded account. You've probably spent more on dinner some nights. You probably literally, even if you're broke, you probably have spent $100 on dinner, $150, $200, $300 on dinner. And you are so caring of the amount of money that you have put in to the point where you're contemplating quitting. And if that's you right now, you just ultimately have a weak mentality. And you need to start detaching from the outcome. And the only way I can literally tell you guys, like I mentioned earlier in this video, is to literally trick your mind. Lie to yourself. Say, I don't care about this money. Even though you care. Deep down in your bones, you actually care, right? I've gotten to a point where I've just lied to myself about the amount of money to where I genuinely stopped caring. But I mean, bro, if someone were to, for example, hypothetically steal 20 grand, 30 grand, 10 grand, 5 grand out of my bank account, I'd be fucking infuriated. I'd be so mad. I'd be so irritated and pissed off. But I mean, the market will do that to me sometimes, and I won't care. And the only way I got to that point was literally just tricking my mind and just lying to myself. Oh yeah, I don't care about this. And then eventually I actually stopped caring about it. And it was difficult to do this early on, especially because, I mean, everyone cares about the amount of money, right? I mean, of course your mood is going to be boosted if you're up 2 grand or $1,000 on the day. Who wouldn't? Who wouldn't be genuinely a little bit excited on the inside? But the more emotional control in day trading you have, and the more psychological control and the more association of detachment from the outcome you have, the faster it is to scale, the easier it is to scale, the more mental clarity you have, the more happiness you have, and all of these things end up trailing you, right? And you actually become better inside as a human being and as a day trader. And this is for business owners too. I've noticed like the top executing business owners, they are all detached from the outcome. They're not even day traders, right? But I mean, look, they'll lose $1 billion in a day, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 million dollars in a day. People like Bezos, right, Musk, all of these people, they have enough stock, right, of their own company where their P&L fluctuation is hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars a day, and they don't care. Because you realize, especially when you're leveling up as an entrepreneur, a day trader, whatever, you don't really look at dollar fluctuation anymore, right? Honestly, that's for broke people, right? That's what I realized. I'm not saying this to be a dickhead and be rude, but dollar fluctuation is such a stupid metric, you know? Because, bro, it's not, and you can't look at it in like how the normal human would look at it. Right, even $1,000 for a broke dude, that's a fucking world of a difference, you know? But if I lose or make $1,000, it's like, okay, I'm like, that's nothing, you know? That's my break even now, you know? Like, you know how you say, oh, I'm break even, I lose $40 or I make $40? My break even now is like, I mean, I made like $500 or $1,000, I'm kind of break even. And I'm not saying that to bloat I meant to say gloat like to you and to you guys. I'm just saying that's what's required to really get to the next level. You know, like if my average day is $5,000, $7,000, $10,000 and I make $1,000 on the day, I mean, it's kind of a break even day. And then there's someone that's looking at my good day at $5,000, $10,000 and is like, that's chump change. You know, like, I mean, how would Bezos or Musk look at 5 to 10 grand? They could literally, if they wanted to, 24 hours a day, light the amount of money every single hour that I think is so good for the day, and it wouldn't even affect them. They could literally light $5,000, $10,000 on fire every single hour of the day, and it would not affect their life anymore. You know, so as you progress in life, in order to actually see progression at a fast rate, you need to detach, because you need to realize how inconsequential the amount of money you are making is in the grand scheme of things. Bro, there's people out here on $100 million airplanes that they just bought. Couple $100 million business Boeing jet. Go search up what a business Boeing jet is after this video. There's people who own those Airbuses, $500 million yachts. Do you think they got there by caring about such small increments of money? Right? And I'm not saying this to hurt your progression or try to diminish your success. I'm more so oversaying this so you can protect yourself in order to get to the next hurdle and get to the next level. Because if you care so much about where you're at right now, it's very hard to see where the next level is. Like, for example, a day's wage for me is like 3.5K. On a good day, 5K. On an excellent day, 10K. And in order for me to get to like 10, 15, 20, 30K days, I need to realize how little the amount of money I'm making right now is and detach from that. Like, okay, I mean, cool, I made 3, 4 grand. Awesome. That's beautiful. I used to pray for times like this. I'm very grateful to God. Thank you, God, so much for what you've instilled and given me. But then on the flip side, okay, well, there's people that have $50 million, $100 million for a yacht. And do you think that they are not detached from the outcome? You think that they care about a mil, 5 mil, 10 mil? I was just talking to my friend's dad. My friend's dad, crazy guy. I mean, he does construction, but government contracts. And they have this house in this community where basically only billionaires live in the community. And he always says, like, he networks with them. Network's such a corny term, but he always talks to them. And one of them, he said that he has a yacht right now. It's called like something. I don't want to leak the name because I don't want you guys researching and I don't know, doing whatever. But anyways, the story of it is this dude has $1 million a month for his docking fees and his staff on his yacht. It's not for his business. It's not for his business. It's not for his house and his life expenses. No. For his yacht that he goes on maybe once every other month is $1 million in fees for docking, registration, staff, and he can just light that on fire. Imagine if you could make $1 million a month right now. And that dude is just posted up, yep, $1 million for my yacht. Right? There's always a level, right? And if you want to play the Monopoly game, especially in trading, of just like really just seeing that linear progression of just growth and constant growth, you really need to realize in the world how much people and how many people are just so much farther ahead. Because then you never have the time to create an ego internally to tell yourself, oh, I'm better than the markets, I'm better than this person, oh, I'm better than that person. I mean, financially, I would say I'm pretty much in the financial situation of like a lot of your guys' goals, right? Like a lot, if you guys can touch, I'm not saying this to suck my own, you know what I mean? But ask yourself, would you love 100K a month right now? You guys all probably are saying, bro, I would love 100K a month, right? That would be awesome. 100, 150K a month, I would love that. But it's like, I'm at that right now, and I just realize how little money that is. And I'm not saying that to hurt you. I'm not saying that to piss you off. I'm not saying that to make you feel some emotion of like, oh, look how ungrateful this guy is. I'm more so over saying it off the basis of making you understand that the more detached you are from how much you're making in the grand scheme of things, the more you can accomplish, the more money you can make, the faster you can make it, the more gratitude you show to God, right? Because don't get me wrong, when I'm saying detach from the outcome, that doesn't mean be ungrateful to God and what He's given you, right? There's a way and a mental frame I tell anyone who asks me for advice, and I tell them to follow this strict regimen. And what that is basically always grateful to God for what He has given you. Always be very happy of what God has given you. But then on the flip side, don't be content with what you have and want more and strive for more, right? Because this is like a double-edged sword philosophy of just saying like, hey, I am very grateful for where I am right now. I love how much money I'm making. Don't get me wrong. It's awesome. I can literally actively do anything. I can travel wherever I want. I can give whoever I want money and whatever amount of money. I can buy whatever car I want right now. I can eat at whatever restaurant, right? We've understood that. We've established that. But there's a lot of things I can't do, right? I can't buy a yacht. I can't buy an Airbus that's $100 million. I can't go on private jets because I just can't afford it. And in order for me to get to that level, I need to detach from where I am right now. I can sit here and glorify and sexualize, oh my God, 100K a month, are you serious? I'm making so much money, like every other person on social media does. Or I could sit there and say, you know what? Thank you, God, so much for what you've given me. I am so happy with where I am in life, but I want to get to that next level. So what does that require of me? That requires of me to not care about how much money I'm making right now. I lose 3 or 4 or 5 grand, or maybe I make 10 or 15, 20 grand in a day. Cool. I don't care. has no effect on my life. And this is the same thing for you guys, right? I just explained my story and I just explained where I'm at in life. But for majority of you guys, it's like, okay, well, you are on a funded account, a 50K funded account. Maybe you make 1,000, maybe 1,500, maybe 2K in a day, right? Maybe $500 in a day. And in order for you to get to where I'm at, of being able to do 6 figures a month, you need to stop caring so much about what's happening on that 50K funded account. That's how you get to the next level. That's how you get there with mental clarity. That's how you get there with ease. But the art of it, and the art of all of this, is to genuinely trick yourself and to say, I don't really care about this. I don't care about what happens on this. I lose a trade. I win a trade. I'm going to move on with my life. It's just a number. And this number can then buy me a house and do this and buy this car and do this. But until I'm at that level, I don't really care about what happens here. You know, it's very interesting. Like, you go through these levels and stages of life of just saying like, oh my God, I'm at this point, right? Like, for example, all of you guys are like, if I can just hit my first 10K a month. I was at 10K a month. I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. I went out, I went shopping, spent $1,000 at the mall. And then I went out to get restaurants, good eats, right? Good food. And then 3 months later, I'm like, okay, 10K a month, shit. All right, let's be for real. I want to get to the next stage. What's the next stage for me? Okay, like 25K a month. 25K a month. Oh my God, it's so nice. Now I can go travel a little bit more. I can go do this. Awesome, awesome, awesome. 3 months later, okay, I mean, look, 25K a month is nice. I love it, right? It's plenty of money, right? Where I still have a lot of money left over. But I want more, right? I want to be able to afford crazy cars. I want to be able to go on even nicer trips, right? And then what's the next benchmark? 50K a month. Same story, then 100. Same story, and now that's where I'm at, right? And the next story will be probably like $250,000 a month. So I'll probably be back on these videos once I'm at $250,000 a month telling you guys the exact same shit. That's why I tell you guys, don't look for contentment within a certain dollar amount. Don't say to yourself, if I can just make 10K a month, I will be happy. The reality of it is, I was the most happiest in my life. Well, I am the most happiest in my life now, but that doesn't have to do with the amount of money I'm making. That has to do with me doing everything I know I am supposed to be doing. And to correlate it to the title of this video, right, in order for me to have gone through all of these hurdles of like this benchmark, then that benchmark, then that benchmark, I had to kill the old version of myself off, as well as I had to detach from the outcome because I understood it's just the next level, right? You get to 10, then 25, then 50, then 100, and now I need to detach from the 100K to get to $250,000, right? Double 2.5x, right? And it's hard, don't get me wrong, because the amount of money I'm making is a lot of money. But the only reason why I'm even telling you this story is for you to understand this, right? A lot of you guys are at 2 or 3 or 4 or 5K, or maybe you just hit your first 10K month, or maybe you just hit your first 20K month. That is a beautiful thing. You should be very happy that you have accomplished that. But in the grand scheme of things, you need to realize that, hey, let me step back and detach from this in order for me to get to the next level. Because if you're sitting still, you're dying, right? That's what I've realized. It's what I've realized. If you're sitting still and you're not progressing, you're essentially dying. It eats you on the inside because you get addicted to progression. You want to get to the next level, and then there's this and this new thing you want to buy, and then there's this other thing, and then there's this other family member that wants your help with money, and then there's this thing, and then there's that thing. There's always going to be something, right? That next accomplishment, that next materialism. And in order for you to get to the next level, you need to detach. I'm not saying to only base your life off of those things. Don't entirely base your happiness off of buying materialism, because that's stupid. But you also need to realize, hey, it's like, if I want the next level, if I'm at 2K a month right now and I want to get to 10K a month, you got to detach from 2K a month. And then obviously build all the habits. It's not even about detaching at 2K a month. It's just about building the habits that will lead you to get to 10K a month. Then you focus on detaching at 10K a month. But if I had to summarize it, I mean, look, you guys want to get really good at day trading really fast. That's all of your goals, right? That's your genuine internal goals. Like, hey, I want to make as much money as fast as possible. But what you need to realize is in order for you to get to that stage, you need to literally not care at all about where you are in life right now. But on the flip side, also be very content, right? Because if you're content but want more, that's a dangerous person. That's a person in which will literally accomplish everything. But if you're content, right? If you're content, if you're grateful and content, you're a very dangerous person. If you are content and I don't even know how to word it, bro. I guess just like okay with where you are in life. I mean, look, like if you're okay with where you are in life, that's fine, right? That's completely fine. You're okay with where you are, you don't want more, that's completely fine. But for the people out there that are just like, I want more, right? I want more. The killer mentality to have in order to really see progression really fast, grateful but not content, right? If you're content and grateful of just where you are, you're sluggish. And if you're not moving, you're dying, right? If you're in the same position, you're not moving, you're dying, right? And it's very easy to fall off the wagon. So always implement this thought process in order to continuously grow and achieve new levels, right? Allow yourself, obviously, to be content and grateful of just being in the same position for like a month duration or a couple month duration if you just achieved that thing, right? Let's say you just hit your first 10K month. Let's say you just got your first payout. Be okay. Look, enjoy the sun a little bit more, right? That's why we're on this planet. Look at the sun and be like, oh man, like this is beautiful. I just got my first payout. Thank God. I'm grateful. But the trick is don't sit there for now the next 6 months reminiscing on the payout that you got 6 months ago, right? Because then you're just dying, basically. Instead, say, okay, I enjoyed my first payout for the first 2 weeks or the month. Wow, okay, beautiful. Now what's the protocol? Well, the protocol is let me start copy trading so then I can do 5 times what I just did. And then you get there. Okay, well, I just got a max allo payout for 10 grand, 15, 20 grand. What's the next step? What's the next hurdle? Well, now I got to go get max allocated on this firm and that firm and that firm. And then you get a payout on those 3 firms. Well, shit, I just did a $50,000 month, right? So that's the key to this shit. But if you're just okay with where you are constantly, it's very hard to get to the next level. Make sense? But yeah, boys, I love you guys. I hope this video helped you out. I hope it benefited you. I just wanted to come on here just to make sure that you guys aren't complacent. There's a quote that if you guys know this quote, you're really an OG. It was like literally like one of the first videos I ever made. Complacency is the killer of all dreams. This is a quote that you need to go upon, right? If you are complacent and you're okay with where you are in life, then you'll basically not grow at all. And if you're not moving and if you're not growing, you're dying, right? That's the mental frame that you need to have. But also on the flip side, be very grateful for what God has given you because you have achieved more than everyone else. If you just got your first payout, if you just got max allo, right? If you just did something like amazing, be very grateful to God. Thank you, God. Pray to God. But don't be complacent with where you are because the second complacency comes in, like I mentioned, complacency is the killer of all dreams. And you will be okay with where you are, and then you won't progress. And detaching from the outcome allows you to successfully scale at such a fast rate because you don't care about the accomplishment, or on the flip side, you don't care about the loss. I don't care. It's just a system. I repeat it. I need to grow, and I need to continuously be growing. Because if you're in the same level, like I mentioned, complacency is the killer of all dreams, and you're going to feel sluggish, and you're not going to find the motivation, and you're just going to sit there and fail. So don't get there. Don't be complacent. Always ask God for more. He's the most giving for a reason. He will give you more. You just got to ask for it and genuinely try your best simultaneously. But anyways, my friends, that's going to be the end of this psychological lecture. I love you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'm getting a bunch of stuff for a day in the life right now. One of my friends just got a 720S. So I'm going to go to the downtown LA, record me driving with him. But yeah, friends, I hope you enjoyed this video. I love you guys. I will see you all in the next one. Have a wonderful Friday tomorrow. Trade with your head on straight. Reflect on the weekend. Don't let this be another weekend that just passed by where you do fuck all. I love you guys. I'll see you guys in the next one.